be very cool.
Hopefully, start. Yeah, that's the enemy moving.
Oh,
I can
cool.
fire the enemy and nothing happened.
This might be an unpopular opinion, but some people have very successful software engineering careers without just rushing to try and advance in levels. Hi, my name's Nick Cosentino, and I'm a Principal Software Engineering Manager at Microsoft. In this video, I got to chat with Mohamad Dbouk, and we got to go through his career progression, how he focused on what he was truly passionate about, and that took a little bit of trial and error for him to truly understand that. We also got to jump into some Blazor code, we got to see some cool video game action, so if you stay tuned, you can see that come to fruition, and it's really cool to see how Mohamad's trying to get that working with Blazor. So far, this is the first interview on this channel where someone has busted out some code for show and tell, so I thought that was super excited. It was totally unscripted, and I think that you're really going to enjoy this conversation with Mohamad. So let me know in the comments if you like this kind of content, and we'll see you next time. Okay, I'm curious though, so everyone has a very unique journey getting into software engineering, right? So I always am very curious to ask people about like what was yours like, even if it was maybe, you know, air quotes, more traditional. I think it's still worth people hearing about how you got to where you are and then letting us know kind of what you're up to these days.
Like the long story was, it's been in the family since forever. Like my uncle was into software development. Like I remember 4 or 5 years ago, 4 years old, I was very likely to sit next to him just to see what he's doing. MS-DOS, then Windows 3.1. So that, and we are talking about early 90s, so it was something very new to have a computer at home, at least in our region, in Lebanon. That's like not something that you can see everywhere. So it started there, and I was like very clear that I need to continue computer science. I need to make my journey as a developer, gaming developer for sure, because we were kids playing Doom or something like that. So it started there. Then, but the actual change was in university. You will get the hard truth that, yeah, I'm learning a lot of stuff that I have no idea how to use them. And are they the right skills for me? Like I started computer engineering, like as engineering, and then I switched into computer science. It was a very good switch. It was one of my doctors, basically. He saw me that I'm doing very well in the computer programming courses. He asked me to switch, and then I started start a night work, which was basically an IT support. The worst thing that you can do as a as a developer. And it was clear for me, like, yeah, I'm not an IT. I don't like IT, but I learned it because it was my job. And then it helped me along the way when I moved to DevOps later on. But it was good. Like in that work, because it was a night job, I had to learn. I learned C# by myself, like long, late hours at night. In university, we learned Java, and I didn't like it. It was fancy because we learned first C++ and C, and then when you start seeing what Java can do, it was, oh, nice, object-oriented.
The abstractions, they feel nice.
But when I started in C#, it was a different level for me. And that's where I start building set of softwares for the company. Like I used to work in a newspaper company, so they produce newspapers. So all your software, all the things that you can think about are things that can help producing that newspaper. And like I did the archive system, I did the accounting system. Probably if I see the code now, I will laugh to myself, but it's definitely something like, I think they are still using the archive for now, I think.
Very cool.
It's been like 15, 14 years now. And then I start jumping between different, like I graduated from BS, and then I start jumping between different jobs as software engineer. I remember start to chase the titles. and that's
Okay.
one of my bad experience in the field. Like
And why?
I
Why? Tell us why you feel like that was a bad
yeah.
thing to do. Because I think a lot of people do this now, right? Especially these days with social media. I see a lot of people will, and I'm a little bit guilty of trying to say, like, here's how you can progress, but there's so much information content about, like, here's the
Hmm.
fastest way to do it. And I don't really agree that fast is like the way. So I'm curious your thoughts. But before we move on, this is just a reminder that I do have courses available on DomeTrain if you want to level up in your C# programming. If you head over to DomeTrain, you can see that I have a course bundle that has my getting started and deep dive courses on C#. Between the two of these, that's 11 hours of programming in the C# language, taking you from absolutely no programming experience to being able to build basic applications. You'll learn everything about variables, loops, a bit of async programming, and object-oriented programming as well. Make sure to check it out.
Yeah, like I was still young, like 23, maybe 24, and my company put me the senior title behind my name. So I'm now senior. And you start to think that, yeah, I'm senior. I know everything. That's a mentality where, yeah, I know that. I can do that. I can build it. And then I remember one time I had an interview, and it was a change, a moment where I changed everything. Like I went
Okay.
back from that interview feeling devastated. Like it was the very bad interview. Like, and in the end, the guy there, yeah, he told me like, you are not a senior. Don't tell me you are senior. You don't know that. And for me, it was very bad. But in the same time, I took it or absorb it and start. Yeah, if I'm not a senior in title, fine. I need to be senior in my practice.
Right.
Let's start learning the right way. Like when you learn in the beginning, you are learning by applying things, and it
Sure.
works. Why it works? Like who cares? It works. That's the mentality in the beginning. But then I remember changing my job from a senior slash team lead into software engineer. That's it. A software engineer in a startup. Eventually, I got the title again because I worked hard. I
Hmm.
did very good job there. But when I started to move away from that title nonsense, like I need to be a manager, I need to say out loud, "Hey, I'm leading a team."
Right.
That's when everything has changed. Like my mentality changed. I'm now focusing on the technical stuff, and it move on. Like I kept going in that flow. My friends were like, are you crazy? Like you can get that title, you can get a team, you can get the bonus. But
Right.
for me, like if I'm not ready, it's not for me. Like once I'm ready, I will get it definitely. I know that as a fact. So why pushing for it if it's not mine? And moving forward, yeah, like I change a lot of jobs. Maybe that's not very good thing, but it
I think that
taught me
used
a
to be
lot of
something that
things.
people used to
Yeah.
frown upon, that kind of thing, but I don't know. I personally think that if you're switching, and like everyone's going to have their own reasons for switching jobs, right? Like even
Hmm.
sometimes it's not even our choice because there's layoffs, but I
Yeah.
think if you're looking for something that is going to be a better fit, like everyone's going to have their reasons for doing it. So I don't know. I think, like I said, I think people used to really frown upon it, but I don't know if that's so much of a thing.
I don't think now it's a thing anymore. Like yeah. Like I remember like recently no one asked me if I have a degree or not. Like I have a master degree, but who cares? You know
Right.
the skills that I need and that's it. Um yeah, and one of the other major jump cut in my career was when I moved into DevOps.
Okay.
That's was very interesting career for me. Like it's a different path. I'm like in summary, I'm the guy that loves to do coding. I'm the guy that loves to build solutions. And when I moved to DevOps, it was very different. Like we had a developer team. It's a very, very big team. It's a very big product. And then I'm the solo DevOps engineer that I'm trying to make them work with me,
Okay.
trying to adapt to their process and introduce a new process for them. It was difficult, but eventually it was like the result speaks to itself. So yeah, you can get a very neat process to deploy to over 200 clients with a click of a button. Like I
Right.
remember we did a bot, a chat bot, like Teams Azure bot, that you type to it. You ask it, hey, deploy to this client this version. We were
Hmm.
using Lewis before all the AI stuff where
Sure.
it's magic. Like before it was magic. So yeah, using Lewis, and it was very interesting. Like I think it was part of the success of that company, what I did there in that time. And then another major stuff
This is good.
is I got bored. Like I did
Okay.
everything that I need, but I remember .NET 7, maybe .NET, no, .NET 6, when .NET 7 was there, sorry, .NET 5 to .NET 6, I didn't install .NET 6 because I'm not using it anymore. And it was for
Okay.
me like, that's strange. I never do that. I always been updated with everything there, but rarely rarely using Visual Studio, rarely using C Sharp.
Right.
So it got me thinking like, yeah, fine. Like eventually I had a head of department. I have 5 6 people behind me and we are doing good. But then, yeah, that's not me. I need to build software
Interesting.
again. So I left there. I went to the current company that I'm there with them, like Outthink. It's a startup cybersecurity training system. It's very interesting work that I'm doing there. So I moved first as a software developer, from head to software developer.
Right.
Again, everyone like, are you crazy? Yeah, I'm crazy. I'm loving what I'm doing. That's it. Like money, yeah, you can adapt. You have your responsibility. You have like a limit that you can't, like a threshold
Right.
for you. Yeah, but again, like between a lot of money versus happiness and stability and mentally being able to perform what you love, yeah, like that's me. And in that period I start with a blog because yeah, it was, yeah, let's try that. I'm always been a fan of Scott Hanselman.
Yep. Scott's
He
awesome.
is, yeah, he is like, he had a very old blog that I'm like reading from the beginning. So it was me like, and he has a few posts where he say, start a blog, start
Right.
doing, start writing, and that's what I tried to do. Start building stuff. Like I remember like silly stuff, silly tools that I'm building for no reason. But yeah, I can share that even
Right.
if
Yeah.
someone out there has found it helpful or not. Like building
Yep.
a tic-tac-toe using Blazor. Like why do you need that? No idea. But it was my way to learn Blazor actually.
And if you're going to
And
learn from it, other people will too. Like that's the beautiful thing about it. I think when people think about building software and stuff, so you used an example of tic-tac-toe and Blazor. Who's going to use it? I don't know. And maybe,
yeah,
maybe no one will use the finished product, but they can use the learning that you had along the way, because if you went through the steps, there's going to be things that you picked up that you can share with other people, and there's value in that. So I think that's awesome.
yeah. For Blazor, the first thing that I did was that tic-tac-toe thing. Like in my, like when I was on DevOps, I worked with Blazor because they chose to build the SaaS software. They upgrade the SaaS software from web forms into Blazor. So
Okay.
Blazor was the winning across Angular and React. Uh, Starting with a preview version, I guess it was very early stages there. but now it's a very robust framework. So, but I didn't work as a developer, so I don't have that development mindset for Blazor. So
Sure.
learning by doing that game was nice. I
Yeah.
even did like can single player versus AI, multiple player, and I stopped where I wanted to do online multiplayer using Signal R. It will be a fun blog post, but yeah, like you get stuff along the way you
Yep.
forgot. Yeah, I'm recently doing another type of Blazor games, which is a space shooter type of game.
Okay.
Yesterday I had like 4 or 5 hours of free time, so I like I could be doing a YouTube video that I can upload, but I decided to let's try to fix the motion of that ship across the monitor because it's being
Okay.
drifted along. Maybe I can share it like
Yeah, if you want to try, because I don't know if I have to change any settings, but I think that
let
you're
me
able to
try
share your screen. So that would be
share
really cool if you
screen.
have it. I did forget to
Entire
ask you ahead of time if you had any like code or stuff you wanted to share. So this is super cool.
that's one of the reasons that I spent few hours on it yesterday.
Nice.
I think that's it.
Oh yeah, that is coming through, and I can see it nice and clear. So yeah, perfect.
Nice. Let me do the settings for YouTube, keeping everything so people can see it. So yeah, let me run it. I need to stop sharing and share again
Oh,
the,
share the whole
the
desktop,
whole
I
thing.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. I'm excited for this.
It's not it's not yet completed, so don't get too
That's
much
okay.
excited. All yeah, let's do that. Oh yeah, Inception.
Whoa.
This is a code, and this is a game. Yes, Guardian of Nebula,
Nice. Okay.
retro style that you can. Yeah, let's start. That's it. You
That's
can
awesome.
move. You can move. It's very. You can even boost when you click shift. I still need to fix the focus because it's not doing well. And you can. Oh wait, I messed up. Oh yeah, you can
Very
fire a
cool.
bullet. Yeah,
So there's
it's nice.
projectiles. Yeah, you got movement. The rocket itself is animated, like the fire out the back.
Yeah, it will move, and it's let's go back to the code. It's very like I'm trying to do something with zero JavaScript. So I'm
Okay.
trying. Let me move you to the right monitor so I can see you. Yeah, I'm trying to do it in a way that I don't need to use JavaScript.
Right. Because I think
So
a lot of
yeah,
people they lean into that, right? They go, okay, well, I'll use Blazor, but then I want to pull in all the JavaScript stuff I'm familiar with that I can leverage, and it's like, well, I mean, the point was if we can move away from it, then let's move away from it.
yeah, exactly. Like and now you can do a lot of stuff. Like everything written in that was purely C sharp, nothing.
Well,
Like you have
what is
CSS, you have
the
HTML, definitely, but
right?
not JavaScript. Yeah.
What does the rendering loop look like for that then? Because okay, I want to back up a little bit, right? You mentioned that, as a kid you were like, definitely I'm going to be building games like
Yeah.
and I think a lot of us do that. That was one of the things I thought, as soon as I can program, I'm building games because why
Mm.
wouldn't I go do that? But if you've built games along the way, as a kid or kind of, just in your younger years and stuff, there is a concept of this render loop generally, and if you're doing stuff like from the very basics, say you're not using a fancy game engine, you need to be able to
Sure.
paint to some surface. So
Yeah.
is there a concept of like a game loop here where you need to be painting?
Yeah. So the thing that I'm doing is very basic. Like I had
Okay.
a timer that's being updated every 100 milliseconds. And one of the things that I'm updating is the background. This is a long horizontal background that I'm
Okay.
changing only the X and Y for the background image. So the background image of this div, I'm trying to use my like fine, okayest experience in HTML and CSS
Sure.
to perform that. The ship here, how to zoom? Yeah, the ship here is basically an image with 4 different sprite, they call it. If I
Okay.
go
Yeah.
to the images, like this is the new enemy ship that I'm trying to add.
Oh,
It's
nice.
the same
Okay.
chip, but you can have different. Like I didn't want to have a GIF file that, yeah, it's looping. Like I need to be in control for that. So for
Right.
my ship, it's different. What's they call it? The fire
Yeah. So
here,
it's a
the
sprite sheet, and
engine.
then the different sprites in the animation, right? That it'll loop
Yeah,
through. Awesome.
and same thing for the bullet. Bullet 1, bullet 2, and then this is the home background, and this
Nice.
is
Yeah.
Blue Nebula. Like yeah, like I used ChatGPT to give me some cool names. So Galaxy or
Awesome.
Guardian of Nebula is very
That's a good one.
marvelous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, what to talk about here? I have a home. We have the menu item, and if it is
Right.
running, if you click on start, I'm changing that to true, and then I'm rendering the game component. Game
Right. So you just
component.
have a whole component that drops into the main
Yeah.
screen when it's running. Okay.
Yes. So by default, like, yeah, I stop it. By default, it will be nothing. Like it's only the menu. There is nothing render as for like the actual game.
Right.
And
Okay.
then going back, game component, when it's rendered, I tried always to separate the files. I don't like this. It's
Oh,
not me. I don't
that's
like it.
new for me, actually. I didn't know. Thank you for bringing that up. I am of the same mindset. It drives me nuts to have, and I don't know, personal preference to have like the markup with the code. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that you could just separate it out into another file like that. I never even thought about it.
Mm. Yeah. So create the same name, .razor.css, .cs for the file, and you need to it needs to be partial class, and you need to inherit from the component base here. Same
Okay.
thing for CSS. You can have like this is for. I tried that because I worked in Angular in the past, and you have like a component with a TS file, the HTML, and the CSS file. So I tried to see if that's something applicable here, and it works. Like never know that before. If you create a CSS file, it will be rendered for that component, and it will be rendered when the component is being there. So the
Very cool.
CSS per component is something cool. So game component, I'm rendering now the player ship component. Later on,
Right.
I need to have like a logic. Yeah, thank you, Copilot. I need a
Yep. I
logic
always
to
have that.
look through. Yeah, I always turn it off when I'm doing records because it messed everything. Like you can't predict something that I'm trying to explain. So yeah, I need to have like loop through enemies, try to have like a level stuff. But playership component, game component, it will render. I tried the container ref to focus, but you can see it's not yet working when starting to change when you fire using space or something, it will mess up the thing. But
So, can you explain what the goal of that is then? So when you're saying focus, is it because the input on the keyboard is trying to
yeah,
refocus or select a different element?
if by default you are here, if I'm clicking anything in the keyboard, it will
Right.
not be picked by the div. Like I'm registering key down and key up on the actual
Right.
div here. So if you click space, notice here it's being rendered in blue. I think that's something
Oh yeah, like the little
Safari does
selection.
for the focus. Yeah. So
Yep.
I'm focusing on that, and everything that I'm typing now in the keyboard is being registered into that div. So the
Got it.
event key down, key up is on the div itself. And so that div will send it to the playership component, another component. I'm using Canvas. Sue me, it's It's not JavaScript. It's HTML5. So I'm still in the gray area. And yeah, like the ship, I have a width. So yeah, let's go to the actual class. I have a
Sure, yeah,
player
yeah.
ship. Now this is where the crazy stuff happening. So I have a class, player ship. It has
Right,
a sprite image, so you can specify the image, and you can have the sprite sheet where
right,
you specify the actual background location for every sprite. So it's
right. Okay.
029. So let's go to that image. So 029 is this one, then 058 is this one, 87 116. Like I literally did that in the browser, like in the what's called the thing, the inspect element where you
Oh,
can
sure. Yeah.
change the value. So that's basically it. Any spaceship of entity, any entity that
Ah,
has sprite image, sprite sheet. And an entity has identity health, identity weapon, where you have bullet.
okay.
See what I'm trying to do? Bullet, fired, fire async, and you have new bullet for now. This is a new bullet. It has also, like, since bullet is an entity, it has already the sprite image and sprite sheet. So I can
Right,
do that, like to actually animate the bullet. That's what you asked for before. So I
right.
can animate the bullet. Hey, let's change that. Yeah, much better. So
That
listen,
new
like
syntax, yeah.
I remember that is way long. Like yesterday, I modified the code to have few things, but yeah, like you notice, it's been 2023, like a year ago.
Oh, wow,
Wow.
yeah.
I went back yesterday to change something from a year ago, which is nice. So you have velocity where you can move forward or backward, depending if it's
Right.
negative or not. And where is player ship? I have here move to direction. Yeah, Sonar is complaining about the complexity, but fine. uh, yeah, so I'm doing, like, you send it the direction. Turbo is basically if you click on shift.
Right.
Not sure why I did that, but it was cool back then. Uh, Ignore that. It was recent stuff,
Oh,
part
was
of the
that to
debug.
I was going to ask if that was
TTL.
to try and simulate that you could boost, but you have a timeout on the boost, like you can't just keep boosting forever. Is that the idea, or was that for something else?
Nah, not yet there. But it was, I had an issue where it's lagging. Like you
Okay.
can, it it was, if I, like, I'm moving back now, but
Right.
because it's there, it's on the zero axis, it's not
Right.
going back. But I tried, like, if you click 1 second between key down and key up, it will registered once. But the actual event, it's uh, working, so I will get that ship behind the barrier, and it
I
will be
see.
locked. So I tried to do some delay, like you move, you delay, so you can have, like, it can work alone. And the way, like, I'm using that task.run because I didn't want to change the event. I needed to be run on a different thread because it was blocking few things. So it was like
Ah,
I was trying things yesterday, but when it worked, I never, like, it was like this before, and then I change it. Still like doing, and handle key up. And you have a timer. You asked me about the game loop.
right. The
A
game loop. Yeah.
timer, creating a timer on elapsed update position, which is, it will update the player ship position by doing x plus velocity if it's moving, because you are changing velocity when you register key up, key down,
Right.
and updating the sprite image, so I can, like, loop through the array of sprite depending on the index you added. That
Right.
was like an intelligent and AI based sprite image changer. Yeah, I can
Nice.
trade more. And you need definitely to invoke state has changed, so it can be reloaded in Blazor. So yeah, like I remember I added yesterday the enemy ship, and if I do that here, I think that is enough to see the enemy. Hopefully.
Which would be very cool.
Hopefully. Start. Yeah, that's the enemy moving.
Oh,
I can
cool.
fire the enemy and nothing happened. But it was like register an enemy running alone, and then it will stop there because
Oh yeah, there's bounds checking to keep it
yeah.
in.
But
Awesome.
that's still not yet there. But yeah, doing stuff.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've
Interesting.
always found, I'm curious what your thoughts are. Whenever I'm doing something in like a coordinate space, and especially this is a good example because you have almost like that, like the side scrolling, like almost like parallax background that's moving.
Mm.
I've always found coordinate systems for me, even though it's a simple concept, I have a really difficult time mapping coordinate systems. I have
Yeah.
found, like, I've been programming for 21 years, and anytime I have to do something that's literally represented, even in 2D, I have to get a pen and paper out and I have to basically draw everything because in code, for some
Mm.
reason, it doesn't click. So in this case, is it simplified to be that, like, if you're just sitting here idle, the ship's position
Mm.
is still staying at the same spot, right? Like it's literally just the visual position. It's not like a
Exactly.
world coordinate
Yeah.
system.
Yeah, it's not there. It's not that.
Okay.
It's like it's an infinite scrolling type of game. Like the map moves toward you and
Right.
the enemies come to you. You can move inside your did you play Xtax while you were a kid?
I don't think so,
Xtax.
but I've played games like the what you've done. I've played something
This one.
that was not. I can't remember the name of it. I used to play. It was a DOS game, and I remember, but it wasn't. It wasn't space. It was like a jet fighter. There were still aliens, but it was a jet fighter going over the surface. Thanks, YouTube ads.
Can you hear ads for me?
It sounds very quiet, but it's yeah. I don't know.
Mute it. This is a game that I like grow up with. It was my childhood basically. Same thing. You have a background that's moving. You have enemies that spawn randomly, and you can fire bullets. You can fire one bullet or multiple bullets. And yeah, I need to add the power ups.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe like this kind of blocks here, so you can have a very
Some
good
terrain
map.
to navigate around. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it started where a few days ago I have my friend coming back from he was traveling. We were sitting, and I was like, he he very into Star Wars. He's
Okay.
obsessed with Star Wars, and I never been a fan of Star Wars. Like, I've never been a fan of like a long franchise, and if
Okay.
I did, it was like you forget about it, you change your
Sure.
mind, and then it's in history.
It's
You
not
don't
like your
like it
core
anymore.
personality.
Yeah, like it's not a Star Wars fan thing.
Sure.
Um, so what I did, let me stop sharing. It's better so I can see you are speaking. So what I asked him, like, I'm trying to build my background. So few prints there,
Oh, sure.
like I found randomly online, like funny stuff. I print my domain here, so it will be shown when I'm streaming.
That's a smart
And
idea. I like that.
yeah, like subscribe here, and then I asked him, like, you see all that the YouTube backdrop where they have posters, you have stuff, and he asked me, like, what did you like while you were a kid? Like, what game did you like? What game
Sure,
did
yeah.
you play? And the first thing that come to mind is Xtax, which is this space shooter, and the other one is Prince of Persia that I was
Okay.
obsessed with until the recent years where it was different. And I remember, like, Prince of Persia, I remember the first one and the second one, the DOS games. I did mods. Like I was 18, 17 years old, and I'm doing mods. I'm doing my own levels for Prince of Persia. So yeah, I thought, hey, I can print something on the
Oh
3D printer.
yeah,
Like I can print the character jumping on my domain here, or
that would be
maybe I
cool.
can create a poster, like a printout poster. But yeah, and then, hey, I can do Prince of Persia in Blazor. And I actually
Yeah.
started, but then I
Oh no
stopped. It
way.
was, I started with a sprite. It's the same thing. And then I
Sure.
remembered, hey, I did very similar thing for the Space Shooter 9000 game. So going back to there, and yeah, the rest is history. The rest is now, basically. But yeah, uh, nice,
That's
interesting.
super awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that because I think that's really cool to actually go through some code. It's
Unscripted
Blazor.
share. Okay, so
Yeah,
for the viewers to know, it's unscripted.
that's right. No, that's cool. But yeah, Blazor's something like I want to pick up more of. And historically, for like C sharp development, I've spent most of my C sharp professional career building desktop applications, so WinForms, WPF, and especially because work required that of me, like that was my skill set. And as that was happening, everyone is moving to the web, but we were building digital forensics products and like they needed to be desktop based.
Mhm.
And it kind of felt like as everyone else was moving to web, I was like, hey, I feel kind of left behind. Like I only know desktop development. So when it comes to anything in the front end, like it's not even like, oh, I would be more comfortable using JavaScript. Like I don't know like any of the
Yeah,
web front end stuff. React is very like I can get through React and some TypeScript or JavaScript, but like it's unnatural for me. So having something like Blazor come about, I feel like, hey, maybe this is an opportunity where I can start to become more familiar, but I have to make the time to go learn it. So it's
yeah.
really cool that you were like, yeah, I had 5 hours and I'm going to carve that time out to go build something.
Like for like a pet project that you want to do just for fun, you need to see the result. Like,
Right.
yeah, you can build like a NuGet package that can do amazing stuff. You can, but visually, the first thing that you can show is, hey, look at what I did. It's on GitHub. You can see it. You can play it. So that's why I chose Blazor. Like I have a very similar experience like you. Started with desktop application. I remember doing crazy stuff in desktop application. It was very fun because it
Yeah.
was visual and it's
Yeah.
purely C sharp. You know the language, you know the barrier, you know what to do. But then moving to web, I remember like my blog is WordPress, and it's WordPress because I need to type something, post it, and that's it. I don't want to rebuild everything just because I know C sharp. Like it's
That's
WordPress.
been my
It's,
exact
yeah,
experience. Yep.
yeah. Maybe I'm gonna move it to Markdown. Like they have the engine where you create a Markdown, it will be served as file,
Right.
static site. It's cool, but still, yeah, fine. Like I remember had that idea before paying the upgrade last year, so it's soon I need to upgrade. So I'm gonna upgrade the WordPress plan and forget about it. But yeah, going back to the point, I start doing some WordPress Joomla, I think it was called,
Joomla. Okay.
PHP
Yeah.
Joomla, Drupal, something. I worked with that as a framework, but it's PHP, it's ugly, I don't like it. And then MVC started. So yeah, you can do MVC stuff. Webform was fine, but web forms are web forms. You can't
That's
rely
right.
on them anymore. Although, like new framework, new JavaScript framework are now look-alike of web forms, and it's like the ugly truth that. And they are selling it like you can render things on the server side. Wow, we had that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's like start MVC, but you need something in JavaScript because it's not enough. Like you need to
Right.
do something on the client side. Uh, Moving to Angular was pain, but when 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 it's your main job, to build, like, it was a startup where we build a healthcare application, and it's a dashboards, charts, benchmarks. It was cool stuff. We have a lot of backend stuff that we need to build, and we need to have the visual, and we choose Angular for that. I learned Angular like everyone did, and I did few things. But when it's come to me, if I need to choose between build all the backend and give the front end an API layer that they can work with, or to build a front end, I always
Right.
choose the backend. Like,
That would be how I opt into things as well. It's like if
yeah.
someone I worked in a startup for 8 years before Microsoft, and in my internships in university was very small companies and startups. So I have that kind of mindset where like, hey, if the business needs whatever's got to get done, like I
Mm,
might not know it, but it's got to get done, so we'll figure it out. And that kind of forced me into like, if I need to wear different hats, I will wear the different hats. But if you gave me an option, I will always gravitate towards back end things, like non-visual things, because
mm,
that's just where my skill set is. And the side effect of that, though, is if you're not forcing me into something uncomfortable, it's very difficult for me to tell myself, you should go spend time on this thing that you don't like doing so that you
yeah.
get better at it, so that you don't sit here continuing to go, I don't like React, I don't like JavaScript. I don't like those things because I suck at them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you need to be familiar with it, like that
Right.
T type of
The
experience.
T
You need
shape.
to T
That's
shape.
right.
So you learn from everything, but you need to specialize with something. And for me, it was backend. Like my current job, we have a backend team, we have a front end team, and we don't do any crosswork. Like, I gave you the API, and that's it. It's not on my end. Like, a story should be done when front end and back end are integrated, yes,
Right.
but my job is done when the API is done. Yeah, after the integration is done, tested, yeah, but it's fine. Like, you can you can focus on more advanced backend stuff. Like, definitely when you do microservices, event based system, you need to focus on that.
Right.
But for me, front end was challenging before. uh, I remember one day, like, I did in JavaScript before having any framework. In JavaScript, I did something similar, like something as look alike, like an object-oriented class where you initialize it with set of parameters. Like before, like 5 6 years, JavaScript was, hey, do whatever. And
Sure.
there's, before TypeScript at least. And to do some organized way in JavaScript, it's like I'm saying, like, I'm trying to make JavaScript look like C# or any advanced
Right.
language. Wait, sorry, not advanced. JavaScript is advanced. So no, no, no one
More
get
structured
offended
and
or something. Yeah,
familiar.
it's perfect language. But yeah, something to think about. Like, you always need to have, you can have multiple hats, but you need the bigger one, the one that I'm specialized with. That's my hat.
Right. Do you find in your career, like, I'm assuming when you were more junior and starting out, like, when it comes to specialization and stuff, were you kind of just like, I will do whatever, I got to do whatever, and you did? Or from the beginning, did you gravitate towards something? Like, did you almost like specialize in the beginning because it was like, I'm figuring this out, I'm just going to stick with it, and then you kind of venture out into other things, or the
Mm.
opposite way?
It depends of the job, but it was
Okay.
the opposite way. Like, you need to do a lot of things in the beginning. You need to learn. It's as a junior, and that's the problem that we have now in the current workforce. Like, you are a junior, you started by picking one language, one framework, one hat, and that's it. And you
Right.
fight for it like as it's yours. Like, it's the best. I can't learn something else. It's mine. But it's bad. Like, you need at least to have the fundamental of everything else. And that's what I did before. Like, front end versus back end was not always the thing, because most of them were full stack developer, where
Sure.
I need to build the front end and the back end to deliver something. So you don't have that luxury to actually separate yourself and say, yeah, I don't like that. Let's build it this way. And probably it hold me a bit because I didn't have the time to focus on my thing, which is the backend stuff. So you remember in the beginning, the interview where it changed me, it was
Right.
pure backend. So pure backend engineer. And I'm doing full stack. I'm a senior. I'm building solutions. I'm doing everything. And
Right.
when you say I'm building everything, you are like, it's very gray. It's, you can have a lot of problems. You don't know everything. You
Right.
can build the full software, but not in a way that specified for every set of that software. And
That's a really interesting point though, right? Because if you were a senior, and obviously roles and levels are going to vary from company to company, so there's some
definitely
nuance there. But as a senior developer at this company, I imagine it was primarily because you could be effective end to end. So if you're thinking about like the ability to deliver software as an engineer at this company, you were probably in a position where you were effective because you did have that full
true.
stack. And at other places, they're when they're saying senior, it's almost like the depth of knowledge that you have in a
It depends.
specialty. That's what it sounds like in this case, right?
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's exactly that, because every company has its own mindset. Every company has its own structure,
Right.
but the you grow when you start to adapt to that. And like when I moved to DevOps, it was very new. It's a new company for me. Like
Sure.
before, I was doing DevOps stuff because no one else is doing it. Like friends don't let friends right click publish. That's I remember printing that in the wall. So yeah, we need to do some automated deployment. We can't keep on publishing on my machine and put it on the server. So
Right.
I remember like having like 1 hour drive between my place and my work in the public transportation. So I put my mobile, download few courses, and every day I have 2 hours, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour when I'm back, just learning how to actually automate the flow using CI/CD, using like before it was Visual Studio Online, if you remember the VSO,
Right.
before
Yeah.
rebranding it to Azure DevOps. So, and TFS before Git. So I start to learn that because we need it, and
Right.
I applied it, and that's the reason why I took the DevOps job, because I did it all by myself. It was very new.
Hmm.
It was like the trend. It was that year trend. So when I started as a DevOps engineer, it was very new environment, new software, new company, and a new set of skills that I
Right.
need to adapt. And you are growing when you start to say, yeah, I don't know that. I need to see what other people say. I need to learn from others. That's where you are now a grown up. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like
That's
there's
such a
many
good.
meetings that I'm saying like I don't know how to do that. I need to
Yeah.
get back to you. Yeah,
I
that's
wanted
fine.
to pause on that because I think that's such a good thing to for people to reflect on, right? I think a lot of us are going through careers and it's like obviously the more experience you get, if you're anticipating what does it look like in 10 years when I'm that much more experienced, it's almost like I know more things. And yeah, you will, of course, you'll know more things.
Mhm.
You'll have more experience. But when we start to move away from this mindset of like, there are other things I don't know, and you start framing it about only the things you do know, your learning just starts to become very limited because you will never know all of the things. And if you only are basing what you're going to do based on things you know, like it's just so limiting. So I think that's such a good reminder for especially more junior people that may be
Mhm.
watching or listening to this that like I love that you said, become like grown up when you're realizing like you can say things like I don't know there's nothing wrong with not knowing. It's literally an opportunity to go learn something. And,
True.
uh, it's a worse position to be like pretending that you know all these things and then feeling like, oh crap, like how do I go figure this out? Now you have this weird pressure on you because it's almost like a facade or you're masquerading
Mhm.
that you know all these things, but it's okay to say you don't.
It's easier now to say that you know because you can do a quick AI search for any topic. You can
Sure.
get like few points that you can escape within. Like in a meeting, yeah, I know that, and you start reading whatever the AI generated for you. Like before, it was Google search or
Sure.
Stack Overflow, but still, like you need to know your limitation, and that's
And that's
that's the only
okay.
way. That's the only way. Like it's okay. It's the way to go. And yeah, for junior developers, know your limitation. You are like there is how much 9 8 billions people alive now,
Yeah.
and the one before, like you are not unique. You are 1 in 8 billions. So whatever you are thinking, definitely someone else think about it and did
Right.
it. So if you want to be like very creative, try to do whatever, but do it in your way, but in the same way. Like that's something when you are junior, like I have this idea that will blow everything. It's a
Yeah.
viral idea. It's a software that will give us millions, but you never do it. Someone else did it. And yeah, like you can see that, like now you can see all the companies, how they are built, because it's, you need to know the limitation and start acting about it. Like start practice. Like this is
Yes.
my my only recommendation for juniors. And like currently I'm teaching computer science in university. Like I have a
Oh,
couple of
awesome. I
hours in a
didn't know
week.
that.
Yeah,
That's
like
very
I
cool.
should start with that. So it's been a while now, but I'm focusing on programming courses, like not the theoretical stuff. Like I need to
Sure.
get my hands dirty with students. So I always tell them, hey guys, you need to practice. Like you are a computer science student, you need to practice. Like I remember in university, computer lab and programming courses, I didn't study for it. Like there is no need to pick up the book and this is how we can do for each or whatever. Like you should not. You should practice and you will
Yeah.
learn it because you did the practice.
Yeah.
But it's been like it's hard, it's difficult. Like maybe because we learn it the hard way, and we are trying to give the advice for the young generation, but they are doing the same thing that we did and they need to learn by their mistakes. But
Yep.
yeah, keep on practicing. It's the only way. Like now, like when I'm building something for the YouTube, the main what's called the ideas comes from a problem that I have, maybe in work, maybe in some other places. Like I have a problem, we are doing something in a wrong way, or maybe in a different way. Let's
Sure.
see how other people is doing it. You start doing some development, start doing some research, and then yeah, maybe that's how we can, like the one that I did, the last one was using Azure app configuration with your app. You can connect, and I link it to multi-tenant because it seems that my YouTube channel is moving through multi-tenants more. Like when I do some multi-tenant videos, it will get some views. So
Okay.
why
Yeah.
not? Like multi-tenant is a very interesting topic. Uh, so I did that in the same way. I'm not using it in my day-to-day job because we are doing something else. But
Right.
that's how, let's say, Microsoft is recommending doing the app settings. You link it to a key vault. You grab it. You can have a label so you can filter multiple tenants. And then I did it for the YouTube, and then I tried to do a POC so I can represent that, hey, we have this solution, and I already did the practice because I was practicing for the YouTube, so it was like
Right.
a win-win. And similar, like different topics, same thing. Like build the thing, practice it, try to, like reading is something. at least in technical stuff. Like you read about it in the documentation, yeah, very cool. But if you don't put your heads on it and start typing, start get
Yes.
your hands dirty with it, fail. Like you need to fail. It's not good to have a successful run from the first time. Like you need to blow things. Like why it's happening. Like you need that
Right.
feeling.
Well, people are afraid of that. It seems like they're looking for the shortcut, and they want to say like, "Hey, you've been through all this stuff. Just tell me the answer." And it's like I've been trying to say this, and I'm trying to make it more succinct and sound like a I don't know, kind of catchy, but like like the only shortcut is that there is no shortcut, right? Like the sooner
Mhm.
that you understand you need to be failing, messing up, like that's literally what you should be doing to learn versus tell me the happy path through everything because you will not learn a single thing that way.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tough generation, I guess. Like this, I'm looking very old. I'm not that old. I'm still 33, 34. So yeah.
yeah,
How old
that's
are you, Nick?
I just turned 35 this year, but I've been joking
Ah,
around like I'm starting to lose my hair here, which was fine, but I'm losing more hair back here, which is making me
yeah,
nervous. I got
I'm
white in
learning.
my beard, so
I
it's
have one gray hair
mine's
here.
mine looks like it's patchy, but it's just that it's white. Yeah, it kind of snuck
Yeah,
up on me, but that's maybe from the startup
getting
life,
old.
I
Yeah, we
guess.
are getting old.
Well, I had one more thing kind of on this last bit that we were talking through that I think you can probably help us wrap this up here. But you're talking about doing some learning outside of work. Obviously, you have your YouTube channel and content creation balance, right? There's going to like this idea of work life balance, how we can get through all these things. This is a huge topic. So, um, I'm curious, how do you go about your life balancing these things where you need to focus on work? There's this learning outside of work, whether it's for work itself or for
Yeah,
YouTube. How does that look for you?
yeah, that's not very good. Like
Okay.
I'm managing, but not in a good way. Like it's
Okay.
Sunday at 6 p.m. and I'm doing an interview with you without like being with the kids maybe.
Right.
So it's difficult to have that balance. I know, but in the same time, every every now and then you need to prioritize something. Like families come first, definitely,
Of
but
course.
you
Yep.
need to have after that your career and your hobbies and the thing that you love to do. Like I'm not so much of like, yeah, I try to exercise before, like to go to gym. Like I did few years in gym and then I hurt my back. I have like the last disc in my back. It's always been hurting now, so I can't do actual exercise. So yeah, I skipped that. But thing that I love the most is doing what I'm doing now. But in the same time, you need to have like you need to focus on family. I remember like when I finished my BS and then like I got married. It's my first year in marriage. I got a new title. I was leading the development team. So this is strike two. And then for some idiot reason, I started with a master degree, all the three together. And
Right.
then I remember start having panic attacks. It was like you start missing very important times from your family and from work and from university. And then I decided it's part of that first strike that we talked about before. Like I, I stopped the university thing. Like, yeah, I put it on hold. I can continue that later, and I did.
Okay.
So I put that on hold, focus on more on my family, and try to build my career in a way that didn't stress me out. Like leading developers, leading a project in that early stage is difficult. Like that's the reason. If it is for me, I will get it. I wasn't
Right.
ready. That's it. I wasn't ready because I'm failing. I'm seeing the result. So in the recent year, I try to focus more family first, then work. Family first, then work. and you will have your ups and downs. Like it's life. You
Sure.
will do more in that on the expense of the first, but you will get to manage eventually. Recently, YouTube channel with the blog, it was a new thing. It's a new era. And like when you start to get good feedback from others, like saying, yeah, that's very cool. I didn't know that we can do that. I'm going to try to implement it in my work today. This
Right.
kind of comments will make you feel like, yeah, I'm delivering something. Like I'm
Right.
doing something very good. And like a few days ago, I was talking to my wife and said, you know, 50 years from now, if we are all dead and if YouTube's still a thing, my kids can go online and see their dad doing something very helpful. Like
Right.
I'm
That's
giving
so cool.
some good to the world even after, like if YouTube still exists and if the algorithm keep on pushing my content. But you know, that's something very like this is something to keep you going. Like why I'm
Right.
doing this kind of stuff, that's the reason. You can manage. It's difficult, like I said, it's very difficult. Like hopefully I
But
can
you,
get few contents from this recording so I can
yeah, yeah.
push to the YouTube. So yeah, I can have my balance now.
But it's
But
I think that's really important, and I love that you were mentioning like this kind of thing, the content creation, the sharing of the knowledge, and all of that. Like part of it is for you because you were like, I have things that I can share, and like it feels good to get them out. But at the same time, like when you have people that are messaging you or commenting and they're saying like this has helped me, it's such a good feeling to know like, and
mm,
with the reach of the internet and everything, it's like literally like the fact that we're having this conversation right now is because
yeah.
of content creation and stuff, right? So when you can have someone from anywhere in the world say thank you, like I'm going to try this, or thank you, this helped me, such a good feeling to know like that you are making a difference.
The first time that I got kind of message was after I finished my master degree like 5 years ago. I published all my projects to GitHub. Like it's my projects, I need to open source them. In master, you do some advanced stuff. Like I remember doing an advanced search engine, like file-based search engine. I wrote it in C sharp. It's very interesting. And another one was implementation of the a priori algorithm. So that was also interesting. So the first time that I got like a comment from a viewer from someone else, I got an email asking me, "Hey, can you upload the file sample for the a priori because I'm trying to work it out and I don't know the structure." For me, it was like, wow, like I put it online. I didn't share it even. Like it's there. I'm
Someone
fine.
found it, yeah.
Someone found it, download the code, try to work it out, and they need help. And then definitely, like I opened my laptop, sent the file, I updated the GitHub repo, and then hey, here you go. Let me know if you need anything else. It was
Right.
very very good feeling, like to know that yeah, I helped someone because I didn't meant to, but it was helpful. And yeah, like sharing this kindness and helpful is what we need to do at least in this short period of time that we have here. So yeah,
Yep, I love that. I think that's so awesome to hear. Well, Mohammed, I wanted to say thank you so much again for having this conversation with me. We didn't get to promote your channel and stuff, so where can people find you? I'll make sure I get all the links that you want to have in like the comments and the description after. But let
yeah.
us know where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you.
You can find me on my website. It's back there on the wall, ahmedbouk.com, YouTube at @mdbouk, and Twitter at @mhdbouk. That was a mistake. Like MH is Mohammed. So yeah, it's stick there in YouTube, in Twitter, and LinkedIn for sure. Mohamad Dbouk. You can find me there. Email. I will put everything so you can. If you need
Awesome.
anything, just ping me, and I'm happy to help. And Nick, thank you again for giving me this opportunity. It was a wonderful 1 hour and 12 minutes. So yeah, thank you very much.